What is the best word or expression that describes the Hindi word Jootha? Jootha is a Hindi word which means that the food, which actually belongs to me, has been tasted by someone else, without my permission. In India this is considered as a taboo and states that the food is not in its original intended state. My friend suggested a few words like pre-consume and foreat, which after some searching and user comments indicated were not correct English words. The closest word that I found that conveyed a similar meaning was ort. It means a scrap or morsel of food left at a meal. But still this doesn't convey the same meaning as clearly as the Hindi word. Please suggest a word or a phrase with which I can convey similar meaning as the Hindi word Jootha.
I don't think the concept exists in English, so it's not surprising that there's no word for it. The closest I can come is double dipping, in which a veggie, crudité chip, is dipped in a common sauce, partially eaten, then dipped again. Some people consider this unsanitary and therefore taboo. From the Urban Dictionary, double dipping is a generally frowned upon act where a person at a party with snacks dips a chip he or she has already taken a bite out of into the dip a second time.
I'm Indian. I've looked high and low for this word. I hate to break it to you, my friend, it does not exist.
Some people like their food too much to share it with anyone. Smile, but the idea that the food on one's plate must not be violated, or as one user described, tainted, by someone else's mouth is not totally outlandish to English native speakers. Normally, a person drinking straight from a bottle of water will not offer to share it with a friend or a coworker. And some people will visibly recoil if you suggested they taste an ice cream which you'd already licked. The most likely reaction would be "Ew, gross, yuck," and a few will add, "It's got your germs all over it." However, among close friends it is acceptable to take a taste of that person's beverage, especially if it is alcoholic. And men will bond by sharing the same bottle of beer together. Sharing food or allowing friends and family members to taste something from your plate using a fork is very common. The vast majority of European and North American speakers find this behavior totally normal, and would be surprised to discover sharing food in this manner is taboo in different cultures. Therefore, if the op wants to convey the meaning of Jootha in English, he will have to use that word and give its definition, and more importantly, explain that it is part of their culture. This may be fine in a relaxed situation over dinner, but with a complete stranger I can see how this solution might be viewed as being intrusive and time-consuming. In a situation where a short phrase will have to do, I might say any of the following with an almost apologetic tone of voice and shrugged shoulders, just to convey that you understand the listener might find this odd but you are powerless to do anything about it. I'm sorry that food has been touched by someone else. I'm sorry, but I cannot share the food on my plate. Please, don't touch my food. My culture forbids me to drink from the same bottle, glass, etc. I would strongly advise against using the term ort, a word which is becoming increasingly rare as confirmed by this gram. Results from Google Books show many false positives, such as last names of authors, acronyms, and the name of a children's book character. The most common and easily understood expression is without doubt leftovers.
In India, on auspicious days, special food items are prepared for offering to one's deities at home. The cook begins cooking only after a shower, and with clean hands. Food is prepared with utmost care, with the best ingredients, using super clean pans and dishes, and finally, without testing it by tasting. If anyone tastes it before it's offered, the food is considered unfit for offering. I would then say, it becomes metaphorically tainted. Verb 1.1 Effect with a bad or undesirable quality odo. As a rough equivalent of Jootha, the food is tainted by the taboo associated with unauthorized tasting. In B, Jootha refers only to the tainted food, not the action itself, just to dot the I's and cross the T's.
If you are looking for a serious word commonly used by adults in a formal setting, I'm stumped. If you'll accept an informal word with juvenile overtones, then I'll mention cooties. Node labels this word as informal and defines it as a children's term for an imaginary germ or repellent quality transmitted by obnoxious or slovenly people. That definition seems to embody much of what you're after, a certain unclean state after a breach of manners or etiquette. So, one could say, ew, gross. You gave my food cooties. As I said, though, you'd be much more likely to hear this in a middle school cafeteria than in the lunchroom at a corporate office. Still, sometimes an informal word is better than no word at all.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.